AfterBuzz TV, starting place to the likes of WWE female superstars Cathy, Kelley, Sonya, Deville, and Zelina Vega proudly presents Women's Wrestling Weekly, the world's first podcast and YouTube series dedicated exclusively to women's wrestling, featuring all the latest news as well as interviews with top superstars in the industry. And now, AfterBuzz TV's own gorgeous lady of wrestling, TK Trinidad.
Bonjour, you're watching Women's Wrestling Weekly, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, aka the Canadian Assassin. Now, we've done some pre-tapes, some weeks have passed. You guys have been watching, you guys should be watching all the time. You notice that Evan is no longer here, so congratulations officially from this show to Evan. He has moved on to bigger and better things with the WWE. So congratulations to him. So he also is fighting crime, so don't worry, our streets are still safe. But with me today, we have Kings County Cook's Kid.
The Kings County Kid, also fighting crime.
You're fighting crime too now?
Why not, man?
Okay, all right.
Because fighting crime gets you promoted, so why not?
That was the checkoff for WWE. Got it. So Bobito is in the house. And we have a new guest co-host with us, Emily May.
Hey!
I haven't quite decided what her name is.
Come.
We're gonna figure it out. If you have suggestions later.
It happens organically. America's Chocolate Sweetheart and Coco Cena came, I think, through this show.
Yep.
So it just happened.
Yeah, organically it will happen, and I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, I can't remember if I introduced myself. My name is TK Trinidad. If you guys just don't know, it's on the little thingy there. Other than that, this is amazing. It's an amazing show. We have Star of the Week, and we have a very, very special guest. She is coming out of Jersey. She's the fiercest doll in the game, a.k.a. Wrestle Bae. Vanity, what's up? How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. So thank you so much for coming on the show. A little backstory. We've been going back and forth trying to get her on the show. Just stuff has been happening. Life has been happening on both sides. But we're really, really happy to have you on the show. So kind of let's get into it. So how did you wrestling now? After interviewing so many, in particular female wrestlers, you kind of see the evolution of how they became a wrestler. So what's kind of your evolution story to where you are right now?
How I became a wrestler?
Yeah.
Oh man. Basically, I met Lita one day, and I was just hooked. I finally met my idol. So I went to Pro Wrestling Syndicate that was holding an event with Lita, Matt Hardy, and all these stars, and I signed up the next week, not knowing anything about independent wrestling, not knowing Ring of Honor, not knowing anything about independent wrestling, but this is what I have to do to get to the WWE.
Right.
All I knew was the WWE, so just meeting Lita was the first. It was the first step.
So did you watch wrestling as a kid?
Yeah, I always watched it. I always watched Monday Night Wars. The Attitude Era played a big part in my life, and my grandfather was always into WCW, but I didn't watch it as much. Mm-hmm. I was always into Stone Cold, The Rock, Kane. So, it was just the Attitude Era, the tag teams, the Dudleys coming in, the Invasion. Then you had Eddie Guerrero come in with the Radicals, and then the wives had a role in wrestling too. It got personal. Mm-hmm. And all the storylines was what I was all about.
Okay, so this is kind of off topic, but still on topic. Your nails, though, they are they are fierce. However, because I know I barely I just have little nubs and I just put gel on them. But sometimes when they chip, they really hurt. So when you're in the ring, do you experience that?
I do, but you know what? If they chip, I'll just get it done the next day.
Okay.
Or I scratch my opponents. Sometimes I've managed not to scratch them. But you know what? If you can't take a punch, if you can't take a hit, a little scratch ain't nothing. Come on now.
That's how you win first blood matches, just scratch your opponents. I've heard you go on record before about your character Vanity, saying that, you're Vanity and Vanity is you, right? So, but during your wrestling journey, have you ever tried on other characters on for size and go, this isn't me? Or did anyone try to force you to put you in a box that you weren't feeling at the time?
A little bit. Probably the first couple of months when I debuted. I was training for 2 months with Pro Wrestling Syndicate, which is WrestlePro now. And I was I started off as a wrestler first, and then 2 months in, their women's division wasn't, it was like vacant. There was like no girls to like, wrestle anymore. So they had me be a valet, and I was coming out with like some pimp dude. Like he was a pimp. So I had to be his I guess, valet.
Okay.
And when they announced me, I had to have like a look for myself. I came out with like the fishnets. I came out with like seductive, like, basically seductive gear. I had a leotard on with like a thong, just trying to get my image out there, but the hair honestly said it all. And one day, actually, WrestleZone was making an article about, Pro Wrestling Syndicate, and they were just like, Craig, the guy that I was coming out with, they were just like, Craig and his hoe.
Oh.
And it was like, oh my God, like, what do I say to that? Like, I have to get back in the ring. Like, I don't want to be a valet anymore. Like, I had to prove myself that I was going to wrestling school. I was taking bumps like the guys. I was the only girl. So how can I be with the guys again? You know what I'm saying? Instead of doing all these seductive, provocative stuff. So I had to like play the role, and I loved being like the street edgy Vanity, all sexy and stuff. But I had to kind of put my foot down and be like, yo, I'm actually going to practice, taking bumps, doing everything I can. And I'm not going to have these guys basically tell me that, I'm just a hoe. Like, what?
Yeah.
So how did you come up with the name? Is it Prince inspired?
No, it's actually not. My trainer at the time, Pat Buck, was just like, look, you're the first girl. So you can't go out there looking like saying your name is Jen. Like the hair, and you gotta look. So you need a name. And I already been thinking about it, like, after 2 months, I was already on the poster, and I told them, like, look, I'm not ready to be out there. I'm not ready to be in the crowd.
Right.
So they're like, all right, you need to come out with a name. And it has to be something like the champion, like this is the champion, not something stupid. Like, please think about it. You're the first girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. We had promo class, and they were just like, so Jen, what's your name? And I'm like, Vanity. And he stopped the class, and he was like, your name is Vanity? And I was like, yeah. Like, my name's Vanity. Like, I can't think of anything else. And he was like, I like it. Let's go with it. And we did promo class, and honestly, I wanted something with a V. Like, I was just thinking seductive names, and I was like, Victoria. There's already a Victoria. Veronica, not strong enough. And I was like, Vanity. It just sticked.
Yeah. Seems ordained.
Yeah.
I would love to know a little bit more about those challenges of trying to transition from what a very male-dominated, sports industry looks at women wrestlers in that way, and how you helped kind of and are defining that new role for you in the wrestling industry.
Women's evolution.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was pretty easy and hard at times, because honestly, when I was going to wrestling practice, I felt like a part of the guys. And then when it came to showtime, I had to be really, really girly. Like, on the inside, I wear hoodies, sweatpants. I'm really like a tomboy. I like to prove to the guys that, I will flip you. Like, if you try me, I will cut you. I will be the first one in line to cut you. Don't try me. Yeah. So I had to, like, roll with the boys, but my trainer was like, look, you're a girl. You have to be all sassy and cute and this and that. So it was hard at times. I was like, oh, I don't know how to wrestle like a girl. Mm-hmm. But I know how to look like one. I know how to, like, do certain stuff. So I had to just collide them together and see what I was comfortable with. And it was like literally like a puzzle. Like, this went with this, but I'm a really big tomboy, so I just didn't let the boys cut me down, but they were really supportive too. Mm-hmm. I didn't have hair to, like, hair flip and, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they were telling me to do some girly stuff that I couldn't do. It just had to come naturally. So there's, like, some things you can't teach in wrestling. Like, they wanted me to hair flip. They wanted me to, like, dip and, you know, do all this stuff. And I'm like, I'll do it, but I got no hair. You know what I'm saying?
But what's the kind of ultimate goal? So you did mention, like, you know, you grew up watching WWE and you weren't really familiar with the indies when you first started, but, you know, not used to it, but you started getting more informed through wrestling school. What's the ultimate goal for your career?
To just keep going. Honestly, I never knew I would get this far. And being in Jersey, like when I first started off, there were not enough women of color in it. Not around Jersey. We had some Latina girls, but not really like women, like black girls. And I was friends with everybody. Everybody was cool and respectful towards each other. But when I was like 5 months in, I actually saw there were actually girls down south that were black and wrestling, like Kiera Hogan, like Aja Pereira. I met Faye Jackson, and I was like, oh my God, like
Faye's
I
amazing.
can talk to these girls. You know what I'm saying? Like about hair, makeup, skin stuff, like stuff that I have questions about that I can't go like run to other girls about. So that was like a challenge also. Like I had nobody to run to that was basically like I could be like, yo,
understand
dude, I need to tell you something.
So,
I can't tell everyone.
Yeah, certain things that we experience that, you know, we share amongst each other, but is there any outside forces where, you know, you thought they're looking for a particular look that didn't match, I guess, culturally? Did you experience any of that type of stuff? Essentially any racism in wrestling.
I got that a lot. I got that that my look wasn't it, and I was like, well, what is it? You know, like I was asking these promotions what they were looking for. How can I transition my look? I basically just wanted to work. I wanted to get the job done, and they were just like, your fishnets don't work. Your look doesn't work. But then I had to break that through, and like I would be like, look, if you're not gonna have me booked on my show just for my look, then I'm gonna come anyway. And I started doing ring crew, and I started basically doing behind the scenes stuff to try to get on the show. Like I wasn't gonna take that my look wasn't gonna get me somewhere, because it was. My look, my attitude, my vibes, people started to get and know who I was. So I wasn't taking that for an answer, really. And I was really acquainted with the girls, because after 2 months, most of the girls knew that I started to wrestle with Pro Wrestling Syndicate at the time. So they're just like vouching for me, which was a really, really big thing at the time. After 2 months, like I didn't have that much credentials or like anything. So I had like Jessie K, Sienna Duval. I had a couple of the girls vouch for me and be like, she's a part of the locker room. She can actually come. Like they were actually talking to the booker, like, you should really give her a chance.
Awesome. I know that you were talking about how when you were training, you were taking the bumps like the guys, you're willing to do the ring crew stuff. I know a lot of fresh recruits don't think about that, you know, giving back before you even get an opportunity. So the question I have for you is that there's many people who decide, I want to be a wrestler, but why do they quit? Why do they walk away? What makes it so challenging for those kind of people to say, I'm done?
You know, I have no clue. I can't even answer that for you. But I see how tough wrestling gets. I see how aggravating or frustrating. You know, it's not built for everyone, but I try to, if I know somebody is going down that route where they're just like, oh my God, I don't think I could do it anymore, I'm like, give it one more month, or remember the good times, because honestly, what comes with good is bad. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to get yourself back up. Like, it's a business. You go down, you go up. Your money goes down, it goes right back up. But remember the good times, because they're so worth it. Because there were times where I wanted to quit, and then I would look back and be like, this happened. I met this person, or, you know, this person knows me. Like, a couple weeks ago, Ric Flair was at an event, and I was like, oh my God, Mom, do you know who's behind me? Like, this isn't real. This is like my red carpet. So the only thing you got to do is push through the hard times, because it's going to be worth it.
Now, dream matches. Who would you like for your dream match?
Oh, wow. I've made a list a couple times, and I've had these opponents in the beginning of my career, but I'd love to go against Tessa Blanchard again. Sonya Strong from House of Glory. Jordan Grace, I've had one match with her, which was really good. Kimberly. Definitely Kimberly, Lufisto. Wow. I have a long list. Hyan from Reality of Wrestling.
Oh, she's really great. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Faye Jackson. I would love to go against her again. It's always a pleasure to be in the ring with her. Aja Pereira, Holodead, Thunder Rosa. Yeah.
Just crazy amount of female wrestlers, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I would love to know what are some, as a wrestler starting, what advice would you give to an up-and-coming wrestler that wants to get started training and get started in this industry?
Basically, don't get complacent with one school. Network and get to know a lot of schools. There's always something out there for you, not just that one school. So basically network, get to know a lot of trainers, go to seminars. Don't get complacent with one place. They're not going to be your best friend forever. You know what I'm saying? Travel, go see the world, meet new people, but travel as much as you can because everything's going to be worth it. The first couple months are not that bad, and your story is yours. Like, don't let anybody get into your head thinking, oh, you can't make it or you're going to make it in 2 months. There's no time span for anything, honestly. It just depends on how you do it for yourself.
All right, so now we're going to hit, anything else? Now we're going to hit some rapid hot tags.
Women's Wrestling Rapid Hot Tags.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to say the first thing that comes to your mind. So always early or always late?
Yeah.
Always early or always late?
Oh, always late.
Last person you text?
Oh, my brother.
What is the one thing you love about yourself?
Everything.
Oh, I like that.
Oh.
I like that.
Come
Dream dinner guest.
Oh my. Aaliyah.
Aaliyah? Favorite wrestler all time, dead or alive?
Eddie Guerrero.
Nice. Who would play you in a movie?
Oh, a singer called Fifi Dobson or Rihanna.
Oh, yeah, I know Fifi.
Throwback.
Celeb you, actually last show you binge watched?
Desperate Housewives?
Okay, throwback. If you can listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Cardi B.
Boom. See, that was easy.
Yeah,
This is simple.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much. Oh, wait, let's do the hand clap.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
It's like the mini gauntlet.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you on social media?
All my tags are WrestleBay. If you put into Google WrestleBay, I should pop up. So go ahead and add me. And thank you so much, guys.
How did you come up with that, WrestleBay? Is it just Vanity was taken, or
I was actually called. I named myself the OG doll my first couple of years, and then within a year and a half after Pro Wrestling Syndicate, this guy was just like, you know your bae. You know your WrestleBay. His name is actually Chris Seaton from House of Glory.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
He was like, you know your bae. You know your WrestleBay. And I'm like, that's it.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Definitely looking forward to your rise in wrestling. Don't forget us when you hit WWE, because I know it's going to happen. Your look is definitely different from everybody else, and that's what we need. We need diversity, and representation matters.
Thank you so much.
No problem. So we're gonna get into the star of the week real quick.
Pro Wrestling Star of the Week.
Thanks, CK. Today's star of the week is a legend, Luchadora Tiffany, born in Xochitl Lea Sanchez on February 20th, 1973 in Monterrey, Mexico. She has been a wrestler for almost 30 years and 3 decades. Considered one of the biggest rudas of all time. That's a heel character as opposed to Technico. Though currently under contract with CMLL or Consejo Mundial, she has really much been considered a legend in Torrepala. A second-generation luchadora, she has wrestled all over Mexico and as well as some dates in the United States as well, and it is a 3-time Reina de Reinas champion in Torrepala. So I just want to say that our star of the week is Luchadora Tiffany.
Oh, amazing.
Thank you guys so much for joining the show. This is your first time watching. We're in season 4 right now, which is crazy. We're currently in season 4 of the show. If this is your first time watching, give us a like on all our social media pages, which is WPW Weekly on Instagram and Twitter. If you're watching us on YouTube on AfterBuzz Wrestling and Sports, make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment on iTunes. 5 stars or better, Spotify, all that good stuff. We love the love because without you, we wouldn't be the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Other than that, Flobito, where can people find you?
You can find me at Flobo Boyce on Twitter, at Flobito on Instagram, and of course, Flobito.com.
Flobito.com. And Emily May, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Emily May Heller. So hit me up.
There you go. And you can find me on everything at TK Trinidad. We really appreciate you guys for joining us. Again, we will see you guys next week. Ciao.